Well, he is alive and
I'm
well.
alive, 25 pounds lighter. All my pants look like MC Hammer pants.
Good.
Like a foot bridge.
That's what an operation looks like.
Everything okay now?
Yeah.
And
I go back in like 4 months for the reversal
So what does that
surgery,
do?
and then
So they're just gonna waive
I've
these?
got like
I mean, do you sit back?
they busted up a 19-millimeter kidney stone. That's the other thing.
Really?
wound up
I
with
got two little ones, so that's a lot of fun.
See, the thing I was trying to say,
I had Bobby leave this up
I
there.
also did something.
Before we leave, you'll have to sign.
Recordable
If we
and
approve
everything.
this.
Okay.
Well, that was a surprise, but man, you were
Any
in there
kind
for a
of
long
federal
time.
social lender.
And I got home.
Time company won't issue the entire
Yeah, that was a
policy.
good point. I mean, that was definitely.
I was just in this room.
So they had to reserve, well, I'm glad they worked it out.
Yeah, we made sure there was nothing that was,
No kidding.
there was, the agreement didn't touch the actual property.
Good.
You know,
lyrics were
that
great.
all of it was just basically.
Back at work,
So
I
a
was
surveyor
up
can issue a
80%.
clean
I said,
final
"Don't give me
survey."
anything
Exactly,
that'll
there
kill
was
me."
no encumbrances on the property, no pending litigation.
Well, that's the deal.
But, no, I appreciate
That
it.
was a good point.
Just back to,
That's great. Good to see you.
thanks.
Okay, we need to make sure we don't incorporate the property into this at all, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, it is officially 6:01 PM here at Villa Rica Planning Commission meeting this Tuesday, February 5th of 2019. This is the call to order. First up is the adoption of the agenda. Everybody have a copy of the agenda?
Yes.
And we do have a quorum this evening, so is there a motion to adopt this agenda?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt this agenda. All those in favor, raise the right hand. All those opposed, 4-0. We pass the agenda unanimously. First up is all business. Does everybody have a copy of the minutes for the December 4th meeting of 2018? Any questions, additions, deletions, corrections?
I move they be accepted as presented.
We have a motion to accept the minutes of the December 2018 meeting as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? That also passes unanimous. Next up is new business.
How we doing tonight, y'all?
Good. Having a heat wave, heat
Yes.
stroke.
Wait till Friday.
You're right.
Okay, the only real item, official item we have on the agenda tonight is a application for final plat approval for Liberty Point Phase 2. The applicant is requesting approval of the final plat Phase 2 for Liberty Point Development. The subject property was approved for zoning from R14 multifamily to PD for the purpose of residential single-family dwellings way back in October of 2006. Currently, Phase 1 of Liberty Point is still under construction, but is nearing completion. All infrastructure in Phase 2 is already in place, and it appears that the applicant plans to develop in this phase in the same manner that previously approved. This plat is an actual straightforward continuation of Unit 1. We've inspected all of the infrastructure, including the roadway. I personally did that with my inspector as a training exercise for him, and kind of helped me get back out, sometimes. Everything looked great. We're calculating the bond amounts for this, for the maintenance aspect of Phase 2. And I'll talk a little bit about the Phase 1 aspect as well, because the Phase 1 section was not, didn't have final top coat asphalt on it currently. We're waiting on some as-built information from the design engineer. I've gotten the video of the sanitary sewer. If you want, this is crazy, but if you want to watch a dirty movie, you can do that. I mean, it's the contractor did a good job on the installation, and still waiting on a couple of pieces, but it's not going to hold up the plat process. I've calculated the the maintenance bond for Phase 2 and the amount that we need, and and I'll give you a little bit, so we don't have a heavy agenda tonight. The maintenance bond is calculated based on the entire cost estimated for the entire construction of the development. Multiply that times 25%, and that's your bond amount for your maintenance fee that goes on the bond.
For the entire development, now you're talking about underground, paving, curb and gutter, those things.
Everything that the city will be responsible for in the future. Water,
But not cost of construction of homes or anything?
no, just the development infrastructure. Water, sewer, curbs, paving, streets, storm, that kind of stuff. We have, I'm pretty sure of the date, I may be wrong, but back in 2016, the mayor and council approved an ordinance to require a maintenance fee be paid by builders if they decide to build in a development that didn't have a final top coat of asphalt in it. Unit 1, Liberty Point, probably had 20 houses built back before everything kind of crashed. But since then, we have collected $41,500 toward the retopping and the finish out of Unit 1. And not to speak for the developer, he's here, but I'll let him speak in a minute. But we've pretty much agreed that he's willing to put up whatever extra is required in Phase 1 with that $41,500 to ensure that it's also completed. It's unusual that we've got the same developer that's still connected with the project. That's a good thing for us in this case. But everything has been looked at. Development code gives every step that's required to, up to including when a building permit can be issued. And we're making sure step by step by step, all that's done and the city's covered. Based on that, staff recommends approval. The developer is here to speak on behalf of the project.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, would I guess the developer come up or his representative, but I'm assuming it's you.
Yes, sir.
You,
Yes, sir. I'm
it's
Robbie
you, yourself,
Robinson.
and I are all
Yes,
wrapped
sir.
up into one.
I'm
Okay,
afraid so.
sounds good. If you can give us your name and street address, is that right? For the
Yes,
record.
Robbie Robinson. Do you want the street where the project is?
No, where you live.
Yes, Lee Road, 2506 Lee Road, Douglasville.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And if you could just tell us why we should approve this, this thing right here.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
sorry,
it's
I'm
the
still
second-
recovering,
Yeah, it's the second unit.
Yes.
We finished Unit 1, we're going to Unit 2, and we've just got the next phase.
Okay.
Project's going great. Lots of nice houses. The clientele has been excellent, and I think it'll be good for the city.
Okay. All right. Any questions for,
Yeah, I have a strange question. Looking at the plot layout, there's a notation down here. It says NF JLC Mirror Lake subdivision. JLC is Jaffe Land Companies.
That's correct.
Is there a relationship here?
No, sir.
What's that notation?
It used to be a long time ago, their land came up that side, but we purchased that, so it's an overlay.
Okay. No, I drove through there last week and really looks to be in good condition.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of this project? All right. All right, at this time, would anyone like to speak in opposition? Do you hear crickets? I hear crickets. Okay, I take that as a no. All right, at this point, the public section is closed. Any further questions for staff, or do I have a recommendation?
I move that we approve the request to submit, or for final plat approval, as submitted according to staff recommendations.
Second.
We have first, a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, raise their right hand. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Be sure to be at the city council meeting, which is next Tuesday? Next Tuesday to make sure it goes through. Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is staff comments with Bobby Elliott.
Y'all, I don't really have any specific comments, but I will introduce Dr. Nancy Mims. She wants to speak to y'all on some historical work that she's got in planning on right now. She's trying to involve all of our boards and everything else, but
Okay.
First of all, I was really very happy. I'm Nancy Mims, 17 Hickory Trail, Billerica. Really happy to see that I can talk for 10 minutes, but I promise I won't.
Okay.
But I know that I don't want to be accused of speaking too fast in 3 minutes. Anyway, what I'm here to do is to tell you about something that I think many of us are excited about, and that is on March 7th at the library, from 6 to 8:30 in the evening, we are going to have what is known as Billerica Citizen Symposium, connecting past and present with the future. Probably because that makes a little bit more sense than just saying workshop. What we wanted to do was to expand the Historical Preservation Commission. Wants to make sure that as Billerica grows, which is necessary and great, that many of our historical sites are not destroyed and that they are really important. But of course, as you know, we have to have a 30-day wait time to announce a workshop. So we're doing more than that. But in doing that, it was also brought to my attention that many people have a different perception of what we are in Billerica. And yes, I've only been here 31 years. But I've come from a city that was, in the past, in the 50s, a Norman Rockwell community that was written up in Life magazine. And it's now almost a ghost town. I've come from a town that was really a pleasant town, and is now such a tourist attraction that when our son passed away and we was buried there, when we went back 4 years ago for my mother-in-law's funeral, it took us almost 45 minutes to even find the cemetery because of the streets and the traffic. Yes, I've been here 31 years, and yes, I'm very, very proud of being here and being on the commission. But I would like to see the history and Billerica preserved for what it is and what it can be in the future. The perception that I'm hearing from people is that each one of us is working differently. And yet there is a juxtaposition between and among all of the commissions and all of the boards. And I think that this symposium that we're doing now will bring together so many different people, because we do have Main Street, we do have Wesley from Pine Mountain, we do have our commission, and I guess we're actually asking all of you to support us as well, so that we can show a united group to not only citizens who've been here, who are not understanding perhaps the downtown development, understanding the Golden Nugget Walkway, or understanding what we want to do to preserve all of our sites. We need to at least designate them as local historical sites so that they will not be destroyed. To be on a national historic registry would take a longer time, but we can go ahead and designate those. What we are asking for is to have the citizens also provide suggestions. We already have some suggestions for them. I think our intent is to have some pictures of those sites at that meeting so that people can see what we have. What was brought to my attention when we had the tour of homes was that, yes, we have historical sites. And speaking with the Baileys and other people around, we have books written on homes, we have books written on the explosion, we have books written on other areas. But what we don't have is a book written on the narratives of people. So in connection with that meeting, I have been asking pastors and other people to please send narratives. What was it like to live in Billerica if you were here prior to 1965? Ask your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. There's an awful lot that I have discovered, even as of yesterday. I don't know how many of you know, but Billerica had ghost tours. Did not know that. I didn't realize, and probably had not made the connection, that during Prohibition, the problems here, which may very well be connected to the still that's at Pine Mountain. So we have a lot of narratives, a lot of different things that people need to understand. One of the things that I'm thrilled with Pine Mountain is, if you've seen the video, you have the cyanide tank. If you watch the video, what you see is briefly that as a swimming pool for the tourists. But what you don't, or what you probably do know, but other people don't know, is the importance of that. Because that is the best way still to divide gold from rock. It exists right now in Alaska, the only state because of our EPA. But Alaska has not had a spill yet, so it's still there. However, India and other countries that have gold use what was brought here first to Billerica, and that becomes important. We have a baptismal fount on Spring Street that apparently was from the late 1800s. At this point, we've only found one resident who remembers at 15 or 16 years old riding his bicycle and watching people being baptized in that fount. These are sites that we don't want to have destroyed. And because Main Street is important and bringing in tourists, because people have to go through Billerica to get to Carrollton or anyone else, I would like for all of us to get together and to show unity for what we've been in the past, what we are now, and where we want to go. And so I guess I'm here asking for your support and doing all of that.
All right.
Nancy,
Thank you.
A question, what constitutes a historical site? I mean, what's required?
Okay, and that's a great question, John. Basically, you're looking at a minimum of 50 years. However, Historical Preservation Commission is only concerned with the exterior, not the interior. And usually in a historical home, it's going to be one that either had a historical event or belonged to somebody of interest or importance in the community. You know, a judge, a doctor, or somebody like that. So that would make it be historical. The book that I'm compiling with the narratives of the voices will allow people who have not had a voice or can tell us more about it. But what I'm hoping is that if it goes over very well, I would like to see the proceeds of that particular book go back to Historical Preservation Commission to pay for plaques on historical homes that are accepted, or to pay for a grant for somebody who needs to have some repair on something that has been authenticated. But historical means that it has to have actually that 3-point criteria.
Yeah, I was curious because, again, I grew up in Indiana on a small farm that my parents purchased in 1939. And at that time, we were told that that house was 100 years old. And I believe it because the house there were no utilities, nothing. I mean, the floor joists were logs that were like that were petrified. I mean, when we ended up wiring the house, you couldn't put a nail in those, you couldn't do it. You had to go around these logs. And the siding on the house were like planks that were hewn about that thick and about yay wide. And so after talking to you a couple of weeks ago, I inquired of Indiana if anybody had looked into that house, and the answer is no. But the woman asked me for the same things that you're asking for. Could I give her some stories about growing up in that house? So, yeah, it is interesting.
I do think that's important. There's one other thing too. Remember that just because a house is a certain age is not necessarily going to preserve it. Historical preservation is actually preserving and protecting, so that if something is not in a historical district and it happens to be old, but it could be a detriment to the community or a safety hazard, that's another criteria that you would have to address through perhaps your commission as well as the city. And something that I don't know that legally I could do that. But many of the houses that we have here are historical, but they're not in the historical district. That's another section of what Historical Preservation Commission is hoping to do, and that is to increase our historical district. So that will include many of the houses that are already now historical, but not necessarily saved under being in an historical district.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, next up, okay. Next up is public comments. Anyone like to have an open mic night? Come on up. You got 10 minutes. Say whatever you like. No takers?
John, they were putting electricity in houses when you were a boy?
No, they weren't. As a matter of fact, we put it in.
You knew Thomas Edison, I'm just saying.
I was wondering.
Yeah. Personal
Ben
friends,
Franklin
went
and
to
the
school
kite.
together. I'm lying. Okay, so there's no public comments. Let's see, next up is number 5, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second? We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Everything was unanimous this time. This is great.
Or one of them.
What a